What is up, fellas? We are back for another UFC predictions video. This time for UFC 312. Plessis versus Strickland 2. Um, Pretty mid card this weekend, fellas. Not the most stacked card, I would say, for a pay-per-view. I think last week's card on paper was probably a little bit better than this one. But hopefully we do a little bit better on picks on this one. Ever since the new year, since 2025 started, I've been getting absolutely fucking plugged. Um, So if you're a bettor, maybe just fade everything I say. Everything I say, just fade me. Uh well let's jump right into this one, fellas. Taking us off at flyweight, Hyung Sung Park taking on Niem Jargel Tumindim Burrell. Um I haven't done that much tape on this card, I'm gonna be honest, because the tape has been leading me astray, and I've been getting absolutely flogged this year so far. So we're just gonna go with instinct, reactions, initial thoughts here. My initial thought on this matchup is that this line is fucking way off. Hyung Sung Park is decent at best. He has no business being minus 240 over Tumen Dembarel, in my opinion. Like Hyung Sung Park and Tumen Dembarel, their UFC matchups, Hyung Sung Park knocked out Shannon Ross. Shannon Ross is a absolute fucking bum. Okay? Bum. Tumen Burrell's first fight was against Carlos Hernandez. Carlos Hernandez has a deceiving record. 10-4 is not the best thing in the world. This guy's good. All right? This guy's actually good. You know, he's taken on Alan Nascimento, beat Dennis Bondar, took on Tatsuro Taira, Ray Tasuria, Tumen Burrell. This guy is a good fighter, well-rounded, great scrambles, great takedowns, good takedown defense, decent striking. And Tumen Burrell had Carlos Hernandez in all kinds of trouble. I think I want to go with Tumen Burrell here, especially because underdogs have been doing really good so far. They've been trending really well at the start of this year. And also, undefeated fighters have been trending very badly this year. They have been looking like shit. Um, I kind of want to go with Tumen Burrell. I think he's got the finishing upside here. I think he's got real good power in his hands, and he's got the ability to find submissions. I think Hyung Sung Park is a better general grappler. I think his takedowns are better. I think he's got cleaner jiu-jitsu. But Tumen Burrell just has a certain physicality about him. Like, yeah, this guy can finish you at any moment type beat. I also think Tumen Burrell has nice straight punches, straight shot selection, and Hyung Sung Park does not move his head. He's there to be hit. And I think with a 5-inch reach advantage, I think Tumen Burrell can land a big shot on Hyung Sung Park. I just think the line's off. I think Tumen Burrell will look better than plus 190 unless Hyung Sung Park comes out here looking like Prime DC, high crotching this dude all over the fucking place, which I guess could happen. Like, but I don't trust that, you know? I just don't trust it. I'm going with Tumen Burrell. I think he can actually find a finish here. I don't know if he will, though. I think we could get a knockdown or two in this matchup, and I think he could win a close decision. I think this will be a competitive fight. A little bit more like, I think Hyung Sung Park should probably be lined around like minus 150, in my opinion. But we'll see. Moving up to lightweight, Quillen Salkild taking on the great Anshul Jubli. Um, I'm going with Quillen Salkild. Anshul Jubilee lost to Mike Breeden. I think Anshul Jubilee's genuinely, though, I genuinely believe this. I think he's better than plus 400 against Quillen Salkild. I really do believe that. I think this fight will be closer than this line. But Anshul Jubilee is a guy who's breakable. He's decent overall. His striking's all right. He can be hit pretty easily. His grappling's all right, but it's nothing special. This Salkild guy is quite the physical specimen. And he seems pretty fucking well-rounded. Like, I could see Salkild going on a little bit of a run in, like, the unranked portion of lightweight, I think. But, then I'll say something like that, and then he'll get his ass whipped by Anshul Jubilee. You know what I mean? I gotta be careful saying these things now. Because now I'm not, the confidence is at an all-time low. I think Quillen Salkild is more dangerous than Anshul Jubilee. I think he's a little bit more well-rounded. When I watch him fight, his striking seems a little bit cleaner. His grappling seems a little bit sturdier. And I haven't seen him break like I've seen Anshul Jubilee. And Anshul Jubilee, it's not just that he broke. It's that he broke to Mike fucking Breeden, who's terrible. I just can't trust him. I think this line should be closer, though. I think Sal Kill should be probably like minus 250. I think minus 600 is a little bit batshit. But also, he's got all of the physical attributes here. I mean, he's fucking huge for the division. He's a younger guy, 6 inches of reach. I think he's a little bit better on the feet. I think he'll beat Anshul Jubilee. How do I think he gets it done? I feel like Anshul Jubilee's low-key been training really hard ever since that loss. I feel like that loss probably hasn't sat well with him. I feel like he might hang tough for 15 minutes, low-key. I'm going to go with Quill and Salkild. I think like a 29-28 decision. Kind of a bold prediction, but I kind of feel that. Moving up to lightweight, Cody Steele taking on Rong Zhu. This is another fight, dude, where it's just like... this little undefeated guy, I just don't know if I trust you, Cody Steele, especially because your Dana White's Contender Series performance I thought was kind of dog shit. I'm not going to lie. I was not impressed with his last fight on the Contender Series. He was looping a lot of his punches very badly, getting very scrappy with a guy who I don't think is that good. But it's Rong Zhu. And Rong Zhu's kind of not the best fighter on earth. He's got decent striking. He's got good power. He's got weak grappling. That's kind of where I think Cody Steele could get an edge here. But I think on the feet, I really believe that if Cody Steele is just out here over swinging, like he was in his Contender Series fight, if he hasn't patched that hole, I think Rong Zhu could low-key catch this fucking kid. There's no line for this fight, but I would imagine they have Cody Steele lined at something stupid like minus 300. Rong Zhu lost to Chris Padilla, which I don't love, but I might have to accept the fact that Chris Padilla is actually not that bad. Lost to, I believe, a big... It wasn't a cut, was it? I think it was like an orbital break on his eye, which is pretty nasty. This is a tricky one for me. I think Rong Zhu has the cleaner stand-up. I think he's got more power in his hands. I think he's got good enough timing to catch a Cody Steele who overswings a lot. But I just don't know if I can trust Rong Zhu. Rong Zhu has a wealth of experience, not against the highest level of competition. He's been in the UFC before, went on a little run beforehand, fought like Ignacio Bahamondes in his first run, which is a tough loss to have. Not tough in like a bad way, it's just a tough matchup, especially because he was like 20 when he entered the UFC. Fuck it. I'm going with the trend. I'm going with Rong Zhu. Cody Steele is undefeated and largely unproven. And I think his stand-up's kind of bad. I don't know. I think Rong Zhu can catch him in exchange. Let's go, Rong Zhu. China power. Let's fucking go, dude. I don't know. Moving up to welterweight, Jonathan McAuliffe taking on Kevin Jesay. This is another fucking weird matchup, dude, because I think, unlike a Cody Steele, who I was not really that impressed with in his Contender Series performance, McAuliffe's Contender Series performance I thought was pretty impressive. I think this kid's actually pretty good, and I think he's a real physical guy at welterweight, which Kevin Jesay is also a pretty physical guy. Judo background, pretty decent kickboxing, trains at CKB. Could Jonathan McAuliffe consistently get Kevin Jesay to the ground? I am unsure. I think in the stand-up, I think Kevin Jesay is going to beat the dog shit out of Jonathan McAuliffe. I don't think McAuliffe's stand-up is quite on that level yet, but maybe he could bring Kevin Jesay's striking level down a peg by just shooting takedowns on him. Get him thinking about the takedown, then maybe McAuliffe's shots on the feet open up a little bit. I could see a world where that happens. I could also see a world where McAuliffe gets the takedown and maybe gets a submission. I think he's a little bit better than Kevin Jesay in the jiu-jitsu department. A little bit better, a lot better. But Kevin Jesay does generally have a pretty good initial takedown defense, which I could see being a problem, especially because McAuliffe really hasn't taken on a guy of this caliber quite yet. And Kevin Jusset is a pretty big physical guy, decent power in his hands, good output, good kickboxing. If McAuliffe can't really get the takedowns going, he can't get the striking going, I could see Kevin Jusset beating him up. I'm going to go with Kevin Jusset. I think he's going to bounce back after the Bryan Battle loss. But I think this fight's going to be close. I think McAuliffe is a good underdog here. I think he's live to out-grapple Kevin Jusset for sure. But I'm going to trust in Jusset's UFC experience. You know, he's beaten a guy like Song Kanan on the feet. And Song Kanan, although kind of taking a downward step for sure in his career, not a bum completely. Like a little bit of UFC experience. He was doing decent against Bryan Battle for a little while. We'll see. This is a close fight. I'm actually interested to see how this matchup plays out. There's a lot of Contender Series guys, and I want to see how they actually do against like UFC level competition. I think McAuliffe is live though. Moving up to bantamweight, Colby Thickness. Banger last name. Banger last name. Versus Alexandre Topuria. Yes, this is Ilia Topuria's older brother. And I am picking him to beat Colby Thickness. Just because Colby Thickness, his striking defense is bad. He gets hit a lot. And he's got like a little pea head. I don't like his build. I don't like the way he strikes very much. I should rephrase that. His striking is decent. It's just he gets touched a little bit too much for me. His grappling's all right. But I think Alexandre Topuria, my biggest gripe with him is that he's inconsistent and he never fights. Like his last fight was what, 2 years ago? 2 years ago. He looked good in this fight. He looked all right in this fight too. I think he's decent. I think he's got power in his hands. His boxing's pretty clean. It's pretty crisp. And he's also a solid grappler. He's pretty well-rounded. And I think I trust his power on the feet a little bit more. I think he can hurt Colby Thickness. I've seen Colby Thickness hurt on a couple of occasions. I think I'm going to go with Alexandre Topuria. I also think he can hang in the grappling with Colby Thickness here. I'm going to go with Alexandre Topuria. I think he can win this fight in the grappling. I think he can win it on the feet too. I think I'm going to go with Alexandre Topuria TKO here. Although I'm sure they'll have Alexandre Topuria lined at like minus 600 or something insane, when he'll probably look like minus 200 at best. But I'm picking him to win. I just see more intangible physical attributes to him that a Colby Thickness does not have. Like, Alexandre Topuria has a good skill set, pretty well-rounded guy, but he's also just got nice power. He's got nice timing. Not on the level of his brother, in my opinion, not anywhere close. But I think he can win this fight. I think he can win this fight. I think he should win this fight. Moving up to women's flyweight, Wang Kong taking on Bruna Brazil. Guys, I'm going with Wang Kong. I think the last fight, her loss was a total fluke, to be honest. I think she got way too overconfident on the feet and just didn't respect anything coming back her way. I don't think she'll make the same mistake twice, though. That's why I'm going with Wang Kong. I think she's a light years better striker than Bruna Brazil. I don't think Bruna Brazil is physical enough to get consistent grappling going on Wang Kong. And I think on the feet, Wang Kong's just a better technical kickboxer. Maybe your chin's glass. We don't, like, maybe it wasn't a fluke, and if you hit her with like one punch, she'll fall over. But I don't think so, dude. This bitch has really great striking skill, decent takedown defense as well. But she learned she's got to respect the shit these bitches are throwing back at her face. Because Gabriela Fernandez, the lady who beat her, is actually low-key kind of dangerous. Decent power, decent grappling. So, and she didn't respect that. I think she's going to have a lot more respect for this lady now after that experience. I think she'll probably beat the shit out of Bruna Brazil. I think she'll finish her. I think she'll get a TKO over Bruna Brazil. Oh, boy. Moving up to lightweight, Tom Nolan taking on Vyacheslav Borishev. Oh, I hate this fight. Sorry about the jump cut. Got interrupted there for a second. Lightweight, Tom Nolan, Vyacheslav Borishev. Guys, I don't know about this one. I don't know about this one. Both of these guys are wildly chinny, in my opinion. Both of these guys, I think, can knock each other out. This is tricky. I love Borishev. I love his style. He's one of my favorite guys to watch strike when he actually gets to strike with his opponents. Very technical guy, very clean guy on the feet. Tom Nolan's a very physical guy. He got good power. Decent striking offensively. His defensive striking, in my opinion, or his striking defense leaves a little bit to be desired. And he's chinny, but so's Borishev. I don't know about this one, man. He's also a giant freak for the lightweight division. I don't know, man. I'm going to dig into a little bit of their previous records here for a moment. Alex Reyes is a bum. Victor Martinez is a bum. Almost knocked him out, too. Got hurt by this schmuck. We got hurt on the feet by this schmuck. This guy got KO'd by Jordan Levitt, dude. Nicholas Mata flatlined him. Beat Bogdangrad, but I think Bogdangrad's fucking terrible despite his win last week. I think he sucks. And then Borishev got his ass whipped by Chase Hooper. Honestly, low-key should have beat Nazim Sadikov. I don't agree with round 2 of that fight being a 10-8 off the top of my head, but very competitive fight with Sadikov. KO'd Mahashet. Decent. Lost to Mike Davis. Mike Davis is good. DeCassie just grappled him. You know, KO'd Dakota Bush. KO'd Chris Duncan, which is a good win. I don't know. I'm going to go with Borishev. I think he's a better kickboxer. I think he can find an opening on Tom Nolan. Maybe Tom Nolan works grappling. Maybe Tom Nolan catches him on the feet. Entirely possible. This line is basically evens. But I'm picking Borishev because he's my dog. He's my guy. Let's go Slava Claus. Please win. Please. Yeah. I don't fucking know, dude. Both these guys have no chins. Flip a coin. I don't know. I don't mind the under on this fight. I'll say that. Moving up to featherweight, Jack Jenkins taking on Gabriel Santos. This is another tricky one. I think this line, once again, there's been like 3 minus 235 lines that I think are a little bit off. I think Gabriel Santos is rightfully the favorite here, but I also think that Jack Jenkins is being a little bit undervalued because I think he's a little bit, not even a little bit, I think he's marginally better than Gabriel Santos on the feet. Nice leg kicks, good hands, and Gabriel Santos is there to be hit in exchanges. We've seen this before. Now, I think Gabriel Santos can separate himself is in the grappling. I think he can out-grapple a Jack Jenkins. I think Jack Jenkins has good takedown defense initially, but I think if Gabriel Santos actually gets him down, I think he'll have a harder time. So do I pick Gabriel Santos because he's got a more well-rounded skill set, and technically speaking, he has fought better competition than a Jack Jenkins? Or do I trust that Jack Jenkins, his takedown defense hangs tough, and he can land big shots on Gabriel Santos on the feet, big leg kicks, stifle the movement, maybe take that takedown away from him by chopping that leg so much? It's tricky. This is a tricky one. Gabriel Santos had an okay performance against, I was going to say Rongju. It's not, it's Yi Za, right? Yi Za's the guy? Yeah, Yi Za. Decent performance against Yi Za. Got knocked out by David Onama, which I don't love. Very close fight with Laurel Murphy, and I think this fight psyops a lot of, like, the Vegas line makers into making him such a big favorite. Jack Jenkins beat Herbert Burns. Herbert Burns is terrible. Arm blew up against Chepe Mariscal. Looking good in that fight, though, against Chepe. And Chepe's pretty good, yeah? Can I check the stats of that fight? I feel like Jack Jenkins was winning this fight before his arm exploded, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, generally. But Chepe was able to take him down and control him. I'm going to go with Gabriel Santos. Just a slight lean with Gabriel Santos. I think he can work the grappling game here. And he's decent on the feet. He's decent enough on the feet. He's not a fish out there. He can be caught. Jack Jenkins could catch him. It is entirely possible. But I'm going to trust in Gabriel Santos getting the grappling going. Because once Chepe was able to get Jenkins down, he was able to rack up some control time. I think Gabriel Santos can largely do the same here against the Jack Jenkins. But we'll see. I think this is a really close fight. I think this will be a good one. I think this will be very competitive for however long it lasts. I think I'll go with the Gabriel Santos decision. I don't think he'll finish Jack. Wait, this is on the... Oh my god. The main card is... We're opening up the main card with Jake Matthews taking on Francisco Prado at welterweight. I don't love that Prado's at welterweight. I don't love that. Jake Matthews, more like Jake Mid-Use. Honestly, suck my balls. I'm going with Francisco Prado. I don't know. I just don't think Jake Matthews is that good. I think he psyoped a lot of people by beating Andre Fialho, who's terrible. Who did Jake Matthews beat last? It wasn't Darius Flowers. I know he beat Darius Flowers, but who was it? Phil Rowe. I mean, Phil Rowe's an okay win. I remember getting annoyed at Phil Rowe this fight because he didn't throw any punches. Lost to Michael Morales. That's fine. This fight, however, losing to fucking Matthew Stinkburger, not a fan of that. Lost to Sean Brady. I mean, who have we really beat? You know, the corpse of Diego Sanchez, Andre Fialho, Darius Flowers, and Phil Rowe. I'm going with fucking Francisco Prado, because in my head, the only thing I think of when I think of Jake Matthews is him getting dropped like 8 times by Matthew Simmelsberger. And Francisco Prado has good power, throws in good combination. I think he can actually close the distance on Jake Matthews in this fight, because Jake Matthews, although he has good boxing, his range management's kind of bad. And Francisco Prado just fought a guy who was way bigger and uses his range way better than Jake Matthews and Daniel Zellhuber. KO'd Ahmed Zaitar, decent win. Lost to Jamie Malarkey, which I don't love, but it was his UFC debut, so I can forgive him. I'm going to go with Francisco Prado. I'm going to say he catches Jake Matthews on the feet. Now, obviously, Jake Matthews could probably take him down and fucking grapple him or do something boring, but I'm just hoping for the fight to be entertaining, so I'm going with Francisco Prado. He chins Jake Matthews. I just don't think Jake Matthews is that good. I've never really been impressed by him or any of his wins, to be honest, but I can tell you for one thing for sure that I have been disappointed with some of his losses. And Francisco Prado showed a lot of heart against Daniel Zellhuber, throwing with fight-ending intentions literally the entire time. Always fighting to work his way into range, always fighting to land a big shot. I think I'm going to go with Francisco Prado, honestly, as a plus 180 underdog. I like a lot of underdogs on this card, and now I'm just going to if I feel like an underdog can win, I'm just going to pick him. Whatever, you know. Moving up to light heavyweight, Jimmy Crute taking on Rodolfo Bellato. This is on the main card of a pay-per-view. Jimmy Crute. I like Jimmy Crute. Dude, like, Rodolfo Bellato is ass. Like, he is ass. Like, he beat Ihor Potieria in his only UFC fight, but he was literally unconscious in this fight. Like, you could have given Ihor Potieria the win in this fight, unironically. His stand-up is abysmal, but so is Jimmy Crute's. In the grappling, I think Jimmy Crute is much better than Rodolfo Bellato. The thing with Jimmy Crute is he is stupid and he never uses his grappling. And when he tries to, he sticks his head into a fucking guillotine from fucking Alonzo Minifield. You know what I mean? Fuck, I hate this fight. Like, this fight, like... I'm going to go with Jimmy Crute. I don't fucking know. I'm going to go with Jimmy Crute. Both of these guys have no business being on a UFC pay-per-view, in my opinion. I get it's in Australia. I think Jimmy Crute fought better level of competition. I think he's beaten better competition as well. I mean, any win's probably better than Ihor Potieria, but he hasn't won in a while. KOing Bukowskis in round one's pretty decent. Subbed up Oleg Zaychuk. KO'd Sam Alvey, who cares? Subbed Paul Craig, not so bad. And he's fought in guys like Misha Serkinov, who's good. Anthony Smith, at the time, wasn't that bad. He was actually kind of on a run in 2021. Fought Jamal Hill. Lost. Had a draw with Alonzo Minifield. Like, in my opinion, Rodolfo Bellato would get finished by Alonzo Minifield on the feet in, like, round one. I think. I think Alonzo Minifield would fucking destroy Rodolfo Bellato. So drawing with him, I don't think is the worst thing in the world. I'm going to go with Jimmy Crute. I don't know, bro. I think Rodolfo Bellato's striking is bad enough for Jimmy Crute to actually be able to hit him with his strikes. And Jimmy Crute does have decent power. It's just, normally he's fighting guys that are much better strikers than him. I don't think Rodolfo Bellato is that much better of a striker than him. I don't think he's really that much of a better grappler than him. Maybe he's got more heart though. I could see that because he did really pull one out of the bag against Igor Potierio. Showed a lot of heart in that fight. Maybe he just dogs Jimmy Crute. Maybe he just mad dogs him over 3 rounds. Could happen. Maybe that's why he's line the favorite. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Jimmy Crute though. I don't fucking care. This card is booty. Oh, the feature fight of my UFC pay-per-view is Justin Tafa. Oh, I'm in hell. I'm in hell. Moving up to heavyweight, Justin Tafa taking on Talison Teixeira. Or Teixeira. Sorry, my Western pronunciation. I'm going with Talison Teixeira. Justin Tafa is fucking awful. The Tafa brothers suck. However, I do want this to be known that I could easily see a world where Talison Teixeira just gets caught in an exchange, because in his Contender Series fight, he just was not using his range the way I would like from a guy who's 6'7" with 83 inches of reach. So he is willing to give Justin Tafa the opportunity to flatline KO him. So I would, like, if you were a betting man, I would stay the fuck away from this entirely. This shit, I don't know about this shit, brother. Teixeira has all of the attributes physically to beat the dog shit out of Justin Tafa. I mean, he's the better side of a foot taller than him. How many inches of reach is that? Sick. He has 9 inches of reach on this guy. I mean, I don't really see this fight making it out of the first round, to be honest. I'm just going to go with Talison Teixeira here. He seems athletic. I don't know. He seems athletic. Justin Tafa's a big fat guy who is terrible. If you don't put your chin directly in front of his fist, he will not beat you in a cage fight. Let's just hope Talison Teixeira doesn't do that. I'm going to go with Talison Teixeira by TKO. I think he can finish at Justin Tafa. Hopefully he uses his range to just beat this fat dude up. This short fat dude up. Oh my god. Is this a decent fight? This looks like a decent fight on my UFC 312 pay-per-view. Moving up to women's strawweight, Zhang Weili taking on Tatiana Suarez. Zhang Weili underdog. Plus money on Zhang Weili. That's interesting. I know a lot of people are on Tatiana Suarez. And she's really good. Tatiana Suarez is probably at least the best wrestler in this division outright. At least. The best wrestler in this division's history outright. Could be the best wrestler in women's MMA. Low key. And that's why she's lined the favorite over Zhang Weili. My problem with Tatiana Suarez is, first off, I think she's a much worse striker. But she doesn't really need the striking if she can get the takedowns going. My problem with Tatiana Suarez is she has not fought in at least 2 years. Yeah. She has been plagued. Plagued, I tell you, by injuries. Plagued by them. Knee injuries, neck injuries, the whole kit and caboodle, which I don't love. I don't love the 2-year layoff for Tatiana Suarez, then walking into a championship fight. Her first championship fight. That's my problem. She's the bigger lady. She's more physical. I think she does certainly have a grappling advantage over Zhang Weili. But it's been over 2 years since she's fought. She's never fought 5 rounds. I worry if she can't get Zhang Weili out of there in like the first 3, she might be in for an ass whipping. You know what I mean? It's just a feeling I'm getting. Like, I know Zhang Weili's pretty inconsistent. She fights normally like once per year. But this is like routine. You know what I mean? This isn't, oh, I blew out my knee, I need to take 2 years off. This is like, I'll get my fight in this year. I'm ready. I'll go through a camp, get my fight in this year. It's just, I don't love the layoff. I don't love the injuries. Also, it's just an intangible thing that I want to bring up. If there is somebody going into this fight injured, it is going to be Tatiana Suarez. If Zhang Weili was injured, she wouldn't take this fight at all. If Tatiana Suarez was injured, she would take this fight because it's the biggest opportunity of her career and she hasn't fought in 2 years. I'm a little bit hesitant about it, is all. I'm a little bit hesitant to just be like, oh, Tatiana Suarez is going to easily take her down and submit her, even though she can do it. I think is it the most likely outcome? Probably. So why don't I pick her? I'm talking myself out of it. I was going to pick Zhang Weili as an underdog. I'm sticking with my initial pick. I'm going to go with Zhang Weili. She's been more active somehow. She's not going to come into this fight with an injury, I don't think. They're very similarly aged. I think Zhang Weili has a power advantage on the feet. I think she's light years better in the striking on the feet. She's pretty strong and physical. I don't think that she's going to be able to stop Tatiana Suarez's grappling early, though. But I think if she can stay safe positionally and defend submissions, I think as this fight gets longer, I think it might start to wear on Tatiana Suarez, who hasn't fought 5 rounds before, who hasn't fought in over 2 years, and has been plagued by injury. So I'm going to slightly lean Zhang Weili. I'm going to say she gets a decision here over Tatiana Suarez. If Tatiana Suarez wins, it's a very impressive win, especially with all the intangibles in her career. You know, I'd be very impressed. Even though she is lying the favorite, you know what I mean? And closing out the card with our main event, Dricus du Plessis taking on Sean Strickland. Lines off in this fight, just going to be honest. Their fight was very close and very competitive the first time, so I don't see Dricus being a 2-1 favorite here. But I do think Dricus is going to win again, just because Sean Strickland's not going to change the game plan, I don't think. He's never done it before. He's never done anything different. He's just been a jab teat merchant. And that's it. And he always fights at a pretty slow pace. Even when he's even when he's having a ton of success, he fights at a very slow pace. He makes rounds close, even though he should be separating himself easily. I want to bring this up. This fight against Paulo Costa, his most recent fight, by the way, he hasn't fought in a while. People freak out about the split decision. But I wanna bring something to your attention. If you rewatch that fight, which I have, there are a couple of rounds in there that are way too close, considering how Paulo Costa was fighting that fight. Paulo Costa wasn't fighting anything like Paulo Costa, and those rounds were kind of close. He just doesn't do enough sometimes. He kind of coasts Strickland a little bit too much for my liking. And I said this about Dricus du Plessis when I picked him as an underdog to beat Adesanya, and I picked him as an underdog to beat Strickland. This is a guy who will do anything in his power to finish the fight. If a round's close, it's not good enough for him. He's going to still try and finish you. He's still going to throw hard. He's still going to shoot a takedown and try and submit you. That's where I see the value on Dricus. And now we've seen, because a lot of guys against Strickland will break over 5 rounds. Dricus did not do that. Strickland had a good 5th round, but Dricus was there hanging tough the entire fight. And I think when we talk about finishing potential, I think it's all Dricus du Plessis. I think he's got more power in the hands and feet, and I think he's got a way better grappling game than Strickland. And Strickland hasn't fought in a little bit. Maybe there's a little bit of rust. I doubt it because Strickland spars all the time. But it's been a little bit since we've seen him in the cage. I'm going to go with DDP again. I just think he's got the finishing upside here. And I also think Strickland's kind of got the kind of style, once you see it once, it's easier to beat, I think. DDP's kind of in the same boat, but DDP throws everything so awkwardly and so weird, it's really hard, even if you've seen it once, to understand it again. Strickland is quite literally, a jab cross, teep with a Philly shell. That is it. And once you have experienced it for 5 rounds like DDP has, I think he'll be able to attack that style a little bit better. I could honestly see DDP getting a finish. I could low-key see him submitting Sean Strickland, because Sean Strickland, he's able to get back up to his feet very well, but he does give takedowns pretty easily. I'm gonna go with DDP sub. I'm gonna go with DDP sub. I'd also like DDP to win because I just thought Sean Strickland sitting out like a bitch for the last like 10 months was kind of gay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with DDP. But yeah, that's UFC 312. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it as always. If you're new, subscribe. I'll love you forever. I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.